Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine Paris Jackson, not as the celebrity daughter we often see, but stepping onto a witness stand in court.
Right.
The sources for this deep dive tell a pretty remarkable story. She wasn't there for, the usual reasons. She was reportedly there armed with what she claimed was evidence from her father, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, alleged warnings preserved in letters, audio recordings, even what sound like deliberately hidden messages.
And the core of this deep dive comes directly from that court testimony and the source materials presented within it.
Yeah.
We've got accounts revealing these layers of protection Michael Jackson allegedly built for his daughter, trying to warn her about something. Well, something specific within the industry.
That's right. Our mission here is really to piece together these disparate bits of evidence presented in court. And it's quite a stack. There's a yellowing letter, security logs from his property, personal audio recordings,
Okay.
details reportedly pulled from his will, a diary entry of Paris's, a separate personal letter, and then the testimony itself from Paris Jackson and a former security chief. Plus, alleged details from property blueprints and even industry contracts mentioned in the sources.
Yeah.
It's sort of like following a breadcrumb trail Michael Jackson allegedly left behind.
So the story really kicks off in that courtroom. Paris is reportedly on the stand, described as, visibly nervous, but speaking with a clear, steady voice.
Mm-hmm.
And she pulls out this old yellowing envelope. It's addressed simply for Paris not before you're 21, with a note saying, if they come for you, show them this.
And she reportedly confirmed it was written by her father, Michael Joseph Jackson, in early 2008. That's just about 18 months before he passed away.
Right.
Inside a 3-page letter. The opening line, according to the sources we have, is incredibly direct. There are people in this industry I was told to never name, but your safety means more to me than violence.
Woo. And then it gets specific, right, about places and practices.
Very specific. He allegedly writes, there are houses in the hills where no music is played. Only silence and instruction. You'll hear them talk about training, but they don't mean vocals. They mean obedience.
Obedience, not vocals.
Yeah. Exactly. Followed by this startling warning. The one they call SC is not a producer. He is a system. If you see him, don't sing.
SC. And the sources mention that federal investigators flagged those initials.
Immediately, yeah. The sources note they reportedly flagged SC right away. Apparently, they appear in multiple internal memos and compliance documents linked in the sources to sort of shadow figures mentioned in connection with the Diddy trial.
Okay.
And here, Michael Jackson is allegedly tying the same entity directly to his daughter's future safety.
So Paris testified that after this letter, her father became, intensely focused on keeping her away from recording studios.
Yeah, obsessed almost.
Yeah.
He'd reportedly say they were circling again the ones from 1993. She remembered him pacing the house, whispering things like, they put contracts in mirrors now.
Contracts and mirrors.
Yeah, and this specific phrase kept coming up, don't sign anything in a room with no corners.
A room with no corners. We'll have to come back to that.
Definitely. He also allegedly made her promise to call him first if anyone ever tried to offer her mentorship through a foundation, reportedly warning her that's where they hide.
And there was more in the letter, right? Page 2.
Yes, page 2 reportedly contained another line that really ties into the source's broader context. Cullums is not the king. He's the courier. Watch who he delivers you to.
Cullums.
The courier. And the source points out this is apparently the first time Michael Jackson has reportedly been tied, even indirectly, to Sean Combs in an official legal context like this.
But he didn't use Combs' name.
Paris stated her father reportedly never said Sean Combs' name out loud, but allegedly referred to him as the Velvet Hand.
The Velvet Hand.
Mhm. And he reportedly described this figure with a pretty chilling quote. They make you feel chosen, right before they take what they really came for.
Wow. So when the judge asked her, why now? Why bring this forward?
Her reported response, apparently after a long pause, was powerful, she said. Because everything my dad feared is happening again. The training, the silence, the looping, and this time they came for girls. I know dancers, stylists, some of them younger than me.
It's devastating. So, okay, building on these warnings, especially that really strange phrase about the room with no corners. The sources get into how Michael Jackson allegedly viewed architecture, even symbols.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Paris reportedly testified about nights her father wouldn't sleep, and she'd hear him talking when no one else was in the room.
Talking to himself, or...
Well, one specific night in 2008, she apparently saw him arguing with a mirror.
With a mirror.
Yeah. She reportedly quoted him saying, "You can't see them, but they're always watching, and they like reflections because they can hide the offer in the light."
Hide the offer in the light.
And that phrase she remembered so vividly. Never sign anything in a room with no corners.
Okay, so room with no corners, it sounds like a metaphor, maybe. But the sources suggest maybe not.
Maybe not entirely. They describe it as a specific architectural detail found in certain, high-end music studios.
Like literally no corners.
Exactly. These aren't standard rooms.
Mm-hmm.
The sources detail custom designs with rounded ceilings, curved walls, absolutely no sharp edges or corners.
No.
Paris reportedly testified that her father told her corners were where the truth hid, and if a room had none, it meant someone was trying to control the sound and the memory.
Control the memory. And how does this connect back to the allegations presented in court?
Well, the sources reportedly included details about Sean Combs' alleged 2011 Hollywood Hills home. The blueprints, apparently, showed a main living room that was circular.
Circular, okay.
Zero sharp edges. An underground studio labeled Phase C, a private elevator, and something listed as a visual reorientation suite with glass walls, but notably, no ceiling.
A visual reorientation suite. That sounds clinical.
Doesn't it? And it resonates with another line from Michael's letter. They put you in glass so you think it's freedom, but glass bends the light and hides what's really happening.
So the rooms themselves were part of the manipulation, allegedly.
That seems to be the claim. Paris reportedly told the court her father's explanation was chilling. He said they built rooms to scramble your mind, that mirrors and glass weren't for vanity. They were for reflection disruption, so you couldn't remember what actually happened inside.
Couldn't remember what happened inside. She even mentioned a diary entry about this.
Yeah, from 2009, reportedly written shortly before his death. It read, "Daddy said a man offered him the mirror room again. He told them no." And she added, "He said, I've already seen what they do with sound."
It just makes you wonder, based on these sources, how often symbols or even physical spaces might be designed for something beyond their obvious function.
It certainly shifts your perspective, doesn't it? Now let's dig a bit deeper into that velvet concept Michael Jackson allegedly used.
Right. The velvet hand.
Exactly. The sources reference his personal security logs from early 2006. There's reportedly a handwritten note from Michael himself. "Do not allow SC past Gate B," mentioning Velvet Hand. Hidden contracts underlined twice, and no recordings when he visits.
No recordings. And there were other initials. DC.
Yes, the logs also reportedly included the initials DC, also underlined. According to the sources, investigators believe DC might refer to delivery courier.
Delivery courier, like for people?
A code, potentially, for individuals who transported contracted artists. This reportedly lines up with witness statements in the current Diddy case who referred to velvet men.
Velvet men.
Yeah, men who would arrive late and quietly take someone away.
Okay.
All right.
It's unsettling. And Michael's definition of velvet. Why that word?
Paris reportedly told the court he described it as velvet because velvet covers sharp things, and the sharpest thing in Hollywood is silence.
Silence is the sharpest thing. Wow. And then there's the velvet clause. That sounds specific, legalistic.
Extremely specific. This clause reportedly appeared in a private development contract from a production label allegedly tied to Bad Boy Entertainment.
And what did this clause supposedly entail? What was in it?
Well, the alleged components, reportedly found on page 19, paragraph 4 of this document, the sources detail subject adherence to something called influence conditioning.
Influence conditioning.
Yeah, involving appearance control, emotional modulation, and exposure to silent rooms for, get this, resonance dampening.
Resonance dampening.
It's described, according to the source, as behavioral programming masquerading as branding.
So this suggests, based on the sources, a really highly specific, codified method of alleged control. It wasn't just about money or, sexual exploitation.
No, it seems deeper, like wanting to control the artist's core expression, their emotion.
Michael's journal entry reportedly touches on this too.
It does. He wrote, "They study resonance, not lyrics. It's why they let you sing as long as you don't feel."
Study resonance, not lyrics.
This idea of studying resonance, rather than just sound or words, seems central to the source's claims about control.
And this connects to victims in the Diddy case. You mentioned a red room.
Right. According to the sources, some victims have mentioned being in a red room. One reportedly called it the he place. Another described it as a test, saying, "You walk in whole and come out echoing."
Come out echoing. That phrase again.
Yeah. And James Laurel, Michael's former security chief, reportedly gave some powerful testimony about an alleged contract ceremony Michael encountered.
A contract ceremony. What did that look like?
He described the room. Red glass floor, ceiling mirrors, no microphones visible, just 3 spotlights and a couch. Laurel said Michael froze, reportedly turned to him and whispered, "This isn't a concert, this is a contract ceremony."
And Michael refused.
Allegedly refused to go on stage, reportedly telling Laurel, "They want me to echo something that doesn't belong to me." He walked out,
Wow.
and Laurel testified the room reportedly just emptied silently afterwards. No footage ever released.
And Laurel found surveillance equipment, too.
Later, reportedly found a tiny glint in a dressing mirror at a press shoot. Unscrewed it, hidden lens and wire.
Oh, my God.
Michael reportedly just stared at it and whispered, "They always watch the voice, especially when it's trying to heal."
Watch the voice.
Laurel also submitted a photo of what looked like a microphone disguised as a light bulb. He said Michael told him the system wanted more than his sound. They wanted his ability to move emotion, to control how people feel through his voice, not just what they hear.
Control how people feel, not just what they hear. And this alleged pressure to echo rather than sing her own song, it seemed to continue for Paris.
It appears so. She reportedly testified about an email she received from someone named Luca S., affiliated with a creative executive placement firm.
Okay.
They allegedly represented a private music consortium or development guild and told her father had opened the portal and they could make her the next message carrier.
Next message carrier. That phrase sounds significant.
It is. The sources highlight that exact phrase, message carrier, appeared in 3 other testimonies in the Diddy trial.
From who?
One from a dancer choreographer, one from a stylist involved in conditioning influence, and one from a vocal coach talking about looping phrasing.
So it's a pattern.
It seems like it. Harris reportedly believes they were trying to pull her back into the very system her father had warned her about, telling her she didn't need to be a star, just a symbol to be directed.
And what happened when she declined?
According to her testimony, things allegedly changed almost overnight. A magazine spread was suddenly canceled. There was this sudden, organized Twitter hate campaign labeling her unstable. Emails from collaborators just stopped.
Like a switch flipped.
That's exactly what she said. It was like someone flipped the switch, just like he warned me.
And there was rehearsal footage, too, from 2009.
Yeah, private footage, shortly before Michael's death. At one point, timestamp 3.44, he reportedly pauses mid-song, stares right into the camera pointed at him, and mouths a phrase.
What does he mouth, if you know?
"Tell Paris, mirror light is false."
Mirror light is false.
Paris testified he knew the allure of the industry spotlight would tempt her, but also how to break its spell.
And he gave her something physical, too. A bracelet.
He did. A single bracelet with a small mirror shard. He reportedly told her, "If the light ever makes you doubt what's real, look at it through this, not their mirror, yours."
Wow. A way to hold on to her own perspective.
Always. And that email from Luca S., it reportedly ended with this final pitch that kind of sums up the alleged goal. "Your father opened the portal, now it's your turn to carry the echo."
Carry the echo.
Paris's reported response, according to the source. Just one single defiant sentence. "I don't echo, I remember."
I don't echo, I remember.
Powerful.
This brings us to maybe the most astounding part revealed in the sources. These alleged layers of legacy protection Michael Jackson supposedly put in place. It wasn't just warnings, it was systematic.
Absolute systematic preparation. She reportedly walked up to the judge and handed him a small red envelope. Inside, a USB drive labeled Jackson Vault T2011 for Paris, if they ever ask.
Jackson Vault 2011.
And the sources describe the audio file on it, about 91 seconds of Michael Jackson speaking softly, likely recorded around 2007.
What did he say?
He reportedly says they used to call it a gift, then they called it a product, and they said, "We'll take it from here." Then they build the walls with compliments and fill the rooms with velvet, and when you try to leave, they say you're hurting the ones who believed in you.
Hurting the ones who believed in you. Using guilt.
Seems like it. He ends with, "I'm recording this because someday I may not be able to say it." It's just chilling to hear him express that kind of foresight.
And there is more. The teddy bear.
Yeah, Paris reportedly explained that a few weeks after giving her that USB, he gave her a teddy bear. The tag read, "If it ever feels too quiet, look in the stitching."
Look in the stitching.
She reportedly didn't understand it until just last year when the stitching actually unraveled, and she found a tiny chip embedded near the neck.
No way. A chip inside the bear.
Inside the bear. On that chip, a second audio file, this one of a younger Paris, maybe around 7 years old.
Her voice.
Her younger voice, you can reportedly hear her whisper, "Daddy said if I ever get lost, not to listen to the man with the soft voice because he makes you forget your name."
Oh, wow.
Then a brief silence followed by her younger voice singing, "They can't hear you if you scream inside."
A tiny, heartbreaking warning recorded years before. That's incredible.
And federal prosecutors reportedly requested an immediate recess right after that testimony and audio played. An agent was apparently quoted off camera saying, "If Jackson protected his daughter with this level of foresight, then this wasn't paranoia, it was preemptive testimony."
Preemptive testimony. And the sources mentioned a coded vault system, too, T1211.
Yeah, for his vast unreleased archives, insiders reportedly believe T1211 was shorthand for Target 12, Room 11.
Room 11.
His private studio, allegedly the only one without external security access, where he went when he reportedly felt he couldn't trust the walls.
And his will contains something specific, too, about the Velvet Clause.
Another critical piece, a single handwritten line in his 2002 will, notarized years before his death. No inheritance may be used to activate the Velvet Clause.
Which lawyers initially dismissed.
Reportedly saw it as symbolic, non-legal at the time. But now, thanks to Paris's testimony and the documents presented, this clause is reportedly seen as a key legal directive against this alleged system.
And he hired a coder to embed keywords.
Allegedly, yes.
Yeah.
Specifically to embed keywords into his legacy files, terms like Velvet Clause, Glass Echo, and Mirror Loop. The sources state each of these reportedly ties back to ongoing investigations into trauma-based artist manipulation.
It's like he was building a digital breadcrumb trail, too.
Exactly. And finally, in the will's archival box, court officials reportedly found a second red envelope. This one labeled specifically, "If she ever speaks."
What was in that one?
Inside, just one sentence in Michael's handwriting. "They will try to silence the ones who still sing their own song." And below it, a thumb drive.
Another thumb drive.
Yeah, with a document titled, "The Ones Who Escaped."
The ones who escaped. What was that?
It reportedly contained a list of 14 names, with entry and withdrawal dates described in the sources as an alleged tracking document.
A tracking document.
Paris M. Jackson is reportedly on that list, with entry marked A and withdrawal initiated AI. The sources note only 3 names on the list had both dates filled in.
AI, any idea what that means?
The sources don't specify what AI stands for in this context, just that her withdrawal was initiated.
So it's like he was keeping tabs.
One insider is quoted in the sources saying, "It wasn't just what Paris showed them, it's that Michael prepared this before she even knew what she'd be up against. That's not paranoia, that's legacy protection." And it worked.
Legacy protection. So what's the fallout from all this testimony? What's happening now?
Well, based on Paris's testimony and the evidence presented from these sources, the judge has reportedly ordered a full forensic review of the Jackson Estate archives.
Okay.
Also, a separate subcommittee specifically to verify Velvet Clause documents across different labels, and importantly, witness protection for Paris Jackson.
Witness protection. That speaks volumes.
It does. The DA is reportedly quoted saying, "This just blew open an entirely new line of investigation."
Blew it wide open.
Yeah. The sources really characterize the Jacksons in this specific context, not just as victims, but as whistleblowers. You have a father who allegedly knew this war was coming and prepared meticulously for it.
A daughter who refused to echo the system.
And a courtroom that finally heard the story she carried all this time.
So this deep dive, drawn directly from court testimony and the sources presented there, it just reveals the incredible, almost unbelievable scale of the alleged warnings and protective measures Michael Jackson supposedly put in place for his daughter.
It really does. It shows how a father's alleged fears manifested not just as, abstract worries, but as this meticulously constructed blueprint for survival, allegedly hidden in plain sight within letters, security logs, even a childhood toy.
Which leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Building on that idea from the sources that not every legacy is a song. Some are whispers and mirrors, files and vaults, and warnings sewn inside a childhood toy. You have to consider how much vital information, how many critical warnings might be encoded or hidden all around us, not just in these famous legacies, but maybe in everyday communications and the things people create. What are the whispers we might be missing in our own lives just because, maybe, we're not looking through our own mirror?